I am sure, guys, that I'm sure, guys, that you want to know how to get into this place of Shalom. I will tell you then it's really, really easy. Now, let me tell you, how do you get in this place of Shalom? The first thing that you need to get yourself in the present. You need to get yourself in the center of the thunderstorm that is going around you. You need to control your mind. This is the first thing that you have to do. Hello guys, welcome to AD33 podcast, and we are shooting today episode 8, and the name of this episode is called Shalom. I'm sure you're gonna love it. I'm sure you're gonna be mightily blessed with it. So wait to hear those revelations. And actually today it's gonna be a little bit different format as what we normally do. I think today it's gonna be like a chit chat that we're gonna have with one another. I also want to thank Shireen for sponsoring this episode. You will not see her picture. She wants to stay top secret, but this is who sponsored my podcast today. Her name is Shireen. So thank you so much. So now let's start. This period of time is especially really, really meaningful. We all face trial and tribulations. And it's very easy to talk about it when you're not facing trials and tribulations. But this period of my life is maybe the period which has the most trial and the most tribulation. I lost the job that I had because the investor that was funding the group decided not to fund it anymore. So I lost my company. I lost my job. That put me into a challenging financial situation. And after living in Malaysia for the last 30 years, I will be leaving the country. So I will be leaving my friend. I will be leaving relationships. I will be leaving my landmark. So much things that I have been leaving. And to be very honest with you, the first 1 week, the first 10 days was wow. My head was spinning. I was just in the storm. I could not get my bearings, and I was like, wow, what am I gonna become? What am I gonna do with my life? What's the next step? And at one point, in my prayers, I was really asking God, where do you take me from this? Because you see, believing God trusting God is really easy when everything is fine in your life, right? You're not facing any challenges, so you're like, yeah, I love God, everything is good. But what happened when you face challenges? What happened when you really face trials that will upside down your entire life? What do you do? Do you still trust God? Do you still believe in God? And it's challenging. I can tell you, when this is when you have an entire 360-degree life shift, it mind's blown you because you don't understand. You don't understand why this is happening. Everything was set to go from glory to glory, and then you have this mountain in the front of you that we talked about last week. And after praying, I lie down on my bed, borderline depression. And I really I'm like, what's going on? And obviously, when you start thinking too much, you start worrying. And then when you worry, you lose sleep. So I was, on an afternoon, I was on my bed, and I end up, in a state of between when you're awake and when you are asleep. A kind of state which I will call it like a trance state, right? And then during this moment, I saw Jesus. And then Jesus, I was on the floor sitting. And then Jesus, hand his hand to me, and he said, Shalom. And at the moment he said Shalom, I was transported into a place where Shalom is. And it was a place where there was so much peace, so much non-attachment to anything. There was a lot of joy, there was a lot of happiness. It's very hard to describe, but it's a place where you feel free. And I felt that I was there for a long time, and it must have been honestly just microseconds. But as soon as I came back, I understood that this is what we all aim for. This is Shalom. And if you look at all the faith and all the religion across the world and over time, they always talk about this place. So this place must be really, really, really important. Muslim calling salams, they greet each other with it. Jewish greet each other with shaloms. Some Christian are often. When you look at Buddhism is a place where people are looking to be in this state of nirvana, in this state of peace. And I start really meditating on this because I was in the middle of the storm. My life was really, really challenging. And I know that this is not only something that happens to me. This is something that happens to a lot of people, and people who are facing challenges which are greater than mine. So yes, even though it's really sad and challenging and, almost depressing, then I am living all what I have. I will be living basically with nothing to nothing. Because I do not know what happened at the moment I go back in France. But you need to be in this place of peace, in this place of contentment. So in life, it's not the pursuit of happiness that we are after. It's not the pursuit of joy that we are after. It's not even the pursuit of wealth and abundance and prosperity that we are after. We are after the pursuit of peace, where you are in the state where you don't need to worry about anything. A state where you don't need to care about anything. A state where you know then everything will unfold in your favors. And this is really what I want to communicate to you to do, guys, is to pursue Shalom. That place where, and it's not only a word, it's a place, because I have been there, where you feel that you are at peace. When you feel that you are at peace with yourself, you are at peace with yourself internally. When you know that you are at peace with everybody around. When you think that you are at peace with God. Because once you understand this, then you understand God. Be at peace. And the best way I can really describe it is this. Imagine that there's a thunderstorm, right? And as a thunderstorm moves, it takes a lot of things with it and it grows bigger and bigger, right? Those could be some challenges that you face in life. And the more you focus on this, the deeper, you're gonna go into depression. The bigger your problem is gonna become, because suddenly there is ripple effect to your state of mind, the way you communicate with your children, the way you communicate with your partner, your husband, your wife, the way you communicate at work, everything will be affected. And in order for you to get out of this storm, you need to be in the middle of the storm. You need to be in the eye of the storm. And when you are in the eye of the storm, everything around can be tribulation, can be trials, can be challenges, can be setback. But you are in the middle, grounded, and you're not affected by it. And I can tell you, then from the moment that this happened, it has changed my entire perspective. I was supposed to shoot this podcast last week. My head was not right. I was in the storm. And then when I learned, even though everything around me is chaotic, I am able to stay calm, collected, composed, and I know that things will work in my favor. I know that God is in control. I know that things will change. I do not know what's tomorrow. And the uncertainties that bothers me are actually Satan and his demons, trying to make me doubt. There is one verse in the Bible which I think really describes this kind of situation. Is John 16:33. The night before Jesus was going to go on the cross, he knew he was going to go on the cross. He knew how he was going to suffer. He knew what was ahead of him. Imagine someone which is on the death row. Imagine what will go in your mind. And he took his disciples and he told them, guys, in me you have found peace. We will face, for sure, we will face trials and tribulations. But in me you have peace. And I think that this is really about what it is. Is in a moment that challenges takes over your mind, you must control your mind. You must ground yourself back and focus on Jesus. Focus on God. Focus says, you know what? I trust you. I believe you. I know that you're taking me somewhere. And what you need to do is you just need to keep moving. You just need to abandon yourself, surrender yourself to Him. There is many aspects in the Bible which is like this. Look, Moses. When Moses asked everybody to leave, not only he himself leave, he is asking thousands of people to leave everything behind, to just trust Him. Imagine. I can imagine because I'm going through this today. Everything that I own, I am either selling it, I am either giving it away, or I'm even throwing it away. Everything that I have collected for the last 30 years, books, clothing, plates, furnitures, I will be living with nothing. And the only way you can do this is by letting go, is by putting yourself in this place of shalom, this place of peace, to know, everything will be all right. And guys, I really want you to keep that in mind, because I know that I'm not alone. I know that there is more than one person who today, listening to this podcast, is facing challenges that you will think you will never be able to go out to. Don't stay in the problem. Don't stay in the challenges. Don't stay in the trials or in the setback. Recenter yourself. Ground yourself to know that God is with you and that God is for you. I think it's in Psalm 56 that says, and Psalm 56 is very interesting, because if you read that psalm, there is chaos going on. But this is what it says. It says, God is for you. And I think this is one of the reasons why in the entire Bible, whatever is the Old or the New Testament, the entire Bible, the most repeated sentence is fear not. And when you say fear not, it's not only about fearing not about being scared of the cockroaches. No, fear not. Doubt not. Trust that God is for you. Know that God is for you. Know that He is taking you somewhere. Because between what you want and between what God wants, it's totally different. So if you really want to be prosperous, if you really want to be abundant, if you really want to become spiritual, you have to learn how to be in this place of shalom. And if you look at most of great spiritual leaders, they are in this place of shalom. Look at them. They don't get shaken when things happen around them. They stay grounded. They're cool. I call it the 3 C's. Cool, calm, and collected. If you can keep this at any time, I think you're good. I am sure, guys, that I'm sure, guys, that you want to know how to get into this place of shalom. I will tell you then it's really, really easy. But before I tell you, make sure, guys, then you like, subscribe, and then put a comment. And in the comment section, if you have a prayer request, just ask. My job is not here only to share, the good news, the gospel, and, about Jesus. It's also about, supporting you with prayer. So if you have any prayer request, feel free to drop it in the comments below. So now, let me tell you, how do you get in this place of shalom? The first thing that you need to get yourself in the present. You need to get yourself in the center of the thunderstorms that is going around you. You need to control your mind. This is the first thing that you have to do. Control your mind. Don't let your mind control you. Because very often, what happens is you start worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to start worrying, what did I did wrong in the past? you're gonna start. Your mind will be full of worries, and this is doubt. This is fear. Jesus said, "Fear not." So don't get there. Recenter yourself in the middle of that thunder, okay? And ground yourself. It's very important. That's the reason why you have a faith. That's the reason why you believe in Jesus, is to ground yourself. So like that, when chaos happens in your life, you can hang on it solidly without being shaken. You do this. And you focus on the present, because you have absolutely no idea of what happens tomorrow, happens in 1 week, happens in 1 month. Absolutely no idea. So what you have to do is ground yourself. As I am talking to you, there is a massive chaos going into my life, correct? But I ground myself now. I say, look, whatever days I have left in Malaysia, I want to make the most of it. And let's see if a solution pops out of nowhere. Miracles happen out of nowhere. Let's see. Be expectant, be open. But you cannot be expectant and you cannot be open if your mind is in the wrong place. Correct? So it's the first thing that you need to do is recenter yourself and be present into today. The second thing that you have to do is, very often when people are in the wrong space in their head, they miss prayers. Yeah. Don't do this. Recenter yourself, ground yourself, get yourself into a place where you are at peace. And then pray. And then tell God, God, what I am facing now is really challenging. Give me the strength to go through what I'm going through now. Give me the strength. And make sure that you are leading me to the promises that you tell me in the Bible. Correct? Lead me there. Break me, mold me, use me. Use me for your good. Use me for your glory. Make sure that out of this situation, a testimony comes out for you. And when you start being in this position of looking for solution, looking at the options in the front of you, you will be surprised of how things will happen. How the situation will change. Who you will meet. You'll be surprised. You'll be amazed. So always be faithful. Always be solid in your faith. And be in this place of peace. Not in the pursuit of happiness, not in the pursuit of prosperity and abundance. Be in the pursuit of Shalom. And that is the place that I want all of you to be in. Guys, thank you so much to listen to this podcast. It was absolutely amazing to have it with you, and amazing also to share a really, really personal stories. You can always, support this podcast. You can support us via the links which are inside the description of this podcast. I think you can do it on Patreon and you can do it on PayPal. So guys, thank you so much. I pray that you have amazing weeks ahead, and I will either be for the next podcast in this beautiful studio, or I will be back in France, but we will continue to do that podcast in Shalom.